station, bringing all the real classic hip-hop and R&B.
That at the end of the day don't need this money. Where, as I said before, I'm sitting around the neighborhood where in the circle, we're sitting here getting our free money going, what am I going to just throw it into stocks, I guess. We'll buy a bunch of cool stuff and get richer.
So I've noticed...
I got a lot of people about to make money. Because also, Manny, look at it this way. Accountants. You're acting like people just claim all of their income. So it's one of these beautiful situations if you have too many people knowing how to use accountants that are about to get a lot of free money. And it's dark because, as I said, if you have the knowledge and you're with the group of the people that have the money and have the power, you get to fall in and get to use their people, and you get lucky like that. Versus if you're not living near those people, you don't get those connections and you don't get those hookups.
Yeah, but you might get a job working down at the dairy farm. You might get that job driving truck. You might get that job, as a plumber because, it's what's known in your community.
And I think this is one of those, as you grow up, depending on where you live, will depend on where your connects are and who you connect with, to where I've talked about JFK Jr., where I've talked about La Palestra gyms in New York and saying how the owner of that gym, his parents were poor as anything, and he got lucky just because his roommate was JFK Jr. He now is one of the richest guys out there because his friends were super rich. And all he had to do was start a business and say, hey, I started a business.
So is that
now suddenly everybody wants
guilty by association?
They have money.
Well, yeah, they're going to come to him. But is that guilty by association?
I mean, sure, I guess, however you want to put it. It's just one of those that I think you get lucky opportunity-wise, depending on where you live, depending on where your circle of friends are at, where, as I said before, I'm literally watching this go down, where I'm looking at some of my neighbors, and these guys are walking around, some of them still working from home, just stacking paychecks. Meanwhile, the local guy that works for the man, air quotes, that makes $50,000 a year, is screwed. Some of them very, very screwed. But this is where I sit back, and I've said before, I go, what happens if the local American who took the loan out for their home doesn't pay for their loan all at the same time? If all of the Americans out there go, I'm not paying my mortgage this month, what happens?
Then the banks don't get paid by the owners of those properties, and then the banks don't get paid, and if the banks don't get paid, well, then they foreclose on the property, and now the bank owns your home and not the landlord.
Thing is, the banks have sold a lot of mortgages off to private mutual fund companies,
third-party companies,
retirement accounts. Most banks don't even own those
not anymore.
Mortgages anymore.
They're just flipping
They're off to a third party now.
Right.
So there are a lot of people don't even know who holds their mortgage.
Right. You sit back and you're like, okay, well, I just put my money, I'm paying my mortgage for the bank, but the bank was like, well, actually, we slipped that note out the back door and somebody bought that from us.
Yeah, we sold it.
And we're going to just kind of daisy chain it on down until everybody gets their money. But again, if the landlord doesn't pay his rent, well, then that just opens up the door for the banker to, foreclose. And I guess that's where the illusion comes in. Well, if everybody doesn't pay their rent and then their homes get foreclosed and then they go to auction, I've seen the meme, where they were like in the Depression, somebody would lose their home and it would go up for auction, and then the town folk would come together and remain silent and only bid, like the guy would only bid $1, and that's what he would get his farm back. I don't think we're going to have that opportunity this time.
So the reason why I say this is because history's kind of repeating itself, where the reason why I'm pointing to it is, no, you don't foreclose on everybody. You can, and that's what happened after we printed more money and we bailed out the banks. Then they could come in and foreclose on everybody. Before that, they were just as screwed. So if they hadn't gotten that bailout, nobody was coming around and kicking everybody out and foreclosing on everybody's house because they couldn't even afford, because we all were foreclosing at the same time, which is going to happen again. Which is where I sit back and I go, we're about to bail out the banks again, where I sit down and I go, what happens if we don't bail them out this time? Last I checked, Americans get to sit in their house, and the banksters don't get to kick them out. Because they're not bailed out. Because it's not their house. Because they didn't work for it. All they did was had money printed and handed to them because it's a fractionalized banking system that just drips down to the bottom. So I say let's let it drip back up. And I think that's a little bit too much for me to say on these airwaves. So I'm not suggesting everybody does this at once. I am just saying allegedly if everybody did this at once, we would end up back in 2008. And if this time we didn't bail out the banksters, well, my God, I guess Jamie Dimone would end up going, oh, I guess I can't have my $80 million salary this week. Weird. I guess I can't go to the Hamptons this year.
You got a question? Scuba Steve?
Got a question for you, Church.
Please.
What do you take of the notion that there might be, I guess, some sort of backdoor in these stimulus packages that seem to set up the U.S. Treasury as the prime debt holder for the Federal Reserve, thereby setting up the conditions to bankrupt the Federal Reserve and return control of the monetary supply back to the American people through Congress?
Well, this is where I guess it would get conspiratorial when we start talking about NESARA and GESARA and the national economic, basically just redistribution of all the money where it's going to the people that actually work for it versus the guys that are the banksters just sitting there going, so when you print all this money, I get it first, right? And I get to just immediately just fill out paperwork that loans it to the next guy and I make millions of dollars off of this?
Right.
And I don't actually... This is just part of it, and you're as Federal Express, but you're the Federal Reserve, like you're the money. Oh, I love this. This could work out great. And you realize that all these guys sitting at these positions, Manny and Steve, are, as I've seen it, they go Greek. So they're all the guys that are a part of these, skull and crossbones groups, and a lot. We've never talked about actually, Manny, the boule. Never talked about that. The African-American version of the skull and crossbones, to where they don't let black people in their group. To where the college chapter there, so they have their own. There's a black version of it called the boule. You can look those guys up there.
So you're saying that you can't be black and be in Skull and Bones?
Allegedly. They have their own version called the boule.
Boule.
Yeah.
Do your own research, people. Colorado, you are tuned in to the Manny and Dr. Church Show featuring the darkness where there are no guarantees. We show up, we hit buttons, and we talk about some things. Sometimes it's factual. Sometimes we absolutely lie to you. Please do your own research.
So, with that, those conversations, things are old school like that. So this, right now, what we have happen on, it's way above my pay grade. It's way above my family name's pay grade. To where, in my opinion, what's going on, there's a few people that know what's going on, and they're big dogs. And there is a war versus good and evil, the same way that I've said psychedelics. Everyone's all about psychedelics. It's going to heal my mind. It's going to make me a genius. Be cautious.
Be cautious.
Because
please.
what can be used for good can be used for evil, too. And last I checked, the Mayans and the Incans had nothing but psychedelics, and for some reason their psychedelics told them to murder 10,000 people in a single day on a hill.
Careful.
To sacrifice to the sun god.
Got to be careful.
Meanwhile, Jesus takes psychedelics and he's like, oh, we're going to save the people. Yay, peace and love. I'm going to grow a beard and dab people out with my holy anointing oil. Yay. So be cautious, and I think this is one of those moments where, yes, obviously I went left and right on this just to answer a question. I say I do think that there are different things, that there's a war going on to bring us back to a money standard that makes sense.
I agree.
Because right now, money standard
I gotta ask, who's gonna get shot? The last couple of people that tried to pull this off. Or did we learn, and now it's not a head. Already. It's not a person. What if it's better than that? As soon as they put a head on any kind of, they put a face on it, it could be taken out. It could be ran through the mud. It could be whatever. But are we sitting at a time where it no longer needs a face? Like, the people are so aware, the veil has been lifted enough that we're continuously asking these questions that we don't need to have somebody stand in front and say, hey, do this for us. because again, if you have the JFK or the Lincoln, then what happens? Okay, they become a target. So have the people become just almost like a silent movement, and eventually it will change just due to people's awareness that the system's a little bit flawed. I guess that's a romantic way to put it. We're moving in the right direction.
I think there's a lot we still don't know. I mean, even it seems like Church and I agree that there is some sort of war going on behind the scenes here.
Right.
But I think we also both agree that we don't really know what that war is, what shape it's taking, what all the pieces are, who all the players are.
How long did it take us to fully understand and comprehend the war on drugs? Like what was actually being taken place with the cartels, and how were people being armed? Where did they get their weapons? Where did they get their drugs?
Today?
I mean, there's definitely been hints at there's agencies at play that are at a different level than where we are. Okay, if you're the cook in the back of the kitchen, you sure as hell ain't knowing what's going on the front lines of human trafficking.
Straight.
Like, we have created that design to where we stay ignorant.
A cook at Applebee's versus the Four Seasons. Two different levels of information and people rolling through your kitchen. You might know something at the Four Seasons if you're at that level.
So you're saying,
or if you're an Army cook, you might have a lot more information than your average Applebee's line cook. Get on right. I don't know. I think all of this, it's primed, is what scares me for a power grab. That's what does scare me, is that I don't know what's going on, and it could be forces of good versus forces of evil.
So we as the people, what do we got to do? Wait a week or two, and then as soon as somebody tries to flex their power, and when they do, if they do, is that when the silent majority of the people stand up and say, "Shame on you, that's not what we wanted"?
I think we pay attention to our leaders right now and hold them accountable, and don't
hold them accountable.
Hold on to the extra power that we've given them to take care of this pandemic.
But I don't think anybody's worried about their power. They're worried about if they get to keep their to-go drinks or not.
Well, then people's priorities are misplaced.
Is this new? No?
People's priorities have always been misplaced.
Well, it has to go at no fault to our own. Okay, again, we can only receive and understand so much information until we pop it. Again, I say that information bubble gets popped, and then it doesn't matter if for a week you saw nothing but dead children, that information bubble will pop. And then that following week, you're going to be like, all right, this is where I'm at. This is what I got to deal with. You know what I mean? Like that shock and awe. Like, again, we do it. You pop that information. You're like, I'm done. I can't receive it no more. I can't talk about it no more. I can't hear about it no more. I'm done. It's dangerous.
See, but then here's where I'll put this. I think also, Manny, hearing your story for so long and knowing my story for so long, we also bleed out the stories of our family members, our parents, how they act and react, how we were kind of raised. And what I'm also realizing is, man, our parents in those 60s were about to do it, and we were gonna do some stuff. And then there's still a bunch of pages that are locked up on the JFK thing that we don't know what happened. And they still don't tell us the Freedom of Information Act still does not let us know everything that they know about the JFK assassination. And here we are. Our parents ended up getting very high, and they were ready to take over things. The psychedelic movement was moving, and then you know what happened? Pregnancy happened. That's what I saw. But the cool thing being is, you know what? We're adults now, Manny. Those pregnancies popped into real people that became adults, and now here we are as the fighters, as the people going,
the free
I have
thinker?
to continue where my dad left off. This is not okay. This is a problem.
So
I have to grow a beard and grow long hair too.
So again, I've made this realization too. I think it was System of a Down. What does he say?
Hip hop tracks.
Definitely a hip hop track. What's that one song where he starts out and
he build a prison?
Is it? Do you have to build a prison? No,
they're trying to build a prison. That's an amazing song.
Nah, man, it's you know me, man. I've been blown up too many times. My memories, I got holes in it. But it starts to he's talking to the audience, and he's talking about you being obedient, and you know what they tell you. They do what they told you, or whatever it was.
They're trying to build a prison.
Okay, it very well could be it, but I sit back and I'm not paying attention to the lyrics, obviously, okay, because I'm not that well invested, all right. But I've heard the song many, many a times, and I sit back and I'm like, this song is about damn the establishment, down with the man. We don't want this. And I looked out in the crowd, and this was before YouTube days, okay, so concerts were still cool, all right. There were thousands of people in attendance at this concert. And when System of a Down or Rage Against the Machine, whoever it was going to be, was there preaching, damn the man, screw the system, we got to take down the government, blah, blah, blah. All these people, these thousands of people in attendance had their hands in the air, and they're screaming, and they're hooting, they're hollering. Then they left that concert. All those people left that concert with that information in their head, knowing that the system's jacked up, our government's kind of this, that, and the other. We don't know if we trust it, and they're not doing what we want. So those people, Manny, they left with that information. And then that was Manny. 20, 30 years ago. What happens again? Does this have to do with the information bubble, where you understand that the problem's there? And I can hear about the problem only for so much, to the point where I don't do anything. I don't do anything. What happens here?
You're doing this to me if we have to get out. And I'm sitting here like we have to get off the air, and I'm sorry.
Well, screw it. Keep talking. I don't care. What are they going to do? Take my job away?
Stop.
Well, keep talking.
I Googled the lyrics of "They're Trying to Build a Prison," and you're messing me up. This is as bad as Prince's 1999 song, where it's like, no, Jesus, Manny.
Again, and look at that. Really quick. That was a whole nother genre. That the image and the information was being painted to those mass audience, and that was with Prince. Okay, and so Rage Against the Machine, System of a Down, those people, that was a whole nother audience that it was preached to. Okay, and so in the country world. In the country world, you've got. I'm not even going to explain it, but this story has been told time and time again that we, the people, have been getting the short end of the stick. And so again, I sit back going like, how much longer is it going to take until everybody kind of looks across the table from each other? It doesn't matter if you're brown, yellow, black, purple, green, and you're going to go, yo, we all getting the short end of the stick.
Welcome. You are right, sir. You are right. And that's where I'm pointing to this bankster thing and this whole we're bailing them out and we're stuck. Manny, I'm going to read this awkwardly quick so we can get out of this. But it says they're trying to build a prison. Following the rights movement, you clamped on with your iron fist. Drugs became conveniently available for all the kids. Following the rights movement, you clamped on with your iron fist. Drugs became conveniently available for all the kids. I buy my crack. I smack my bitch right here in Hollywood. Nearly 2 million Americans are incarcerated in the prison system of the U.S. Where again, if you're in Hollywood, you can buy your crack and you can smack your wife, but you're good.
When you were saying crack, I wasn't hearing drug. I was thinking media, programming, cartoons. Like, we live in Neverland. This is the time. 2020 is where people don't have to grow up. Like I'm the leader of the Lost Boys, man. I am Peter Pan, okay? Because everybody around me still wants to be the kid. They still want, they don't want to have to grow up. And then I look at Hook. And well, he's the banker, and he's the politician, and and he's he's the lawyer. Or actually, you know what sucks is that he's a dad. He's a parent, and he's got a business to run. And it's a small business, and he needs the community to operate at a certain level so that way his business can grow and that he can provide for his family. And so he becomes Hook and sour and just angry at, damn it, kid, get off your skateboard. You got work to do. We got responsibilities. Because this individual, he's grown up and says, man, you know what, if I'm going to make it, if my kids are going to get through college, if they're going to have any chance at higher education, well, man, they're going to need some financial backing. And I better figure it out.
Go raise the black.
So we do. We live.
This song, man,
raise the black flag.
Is
slitting throats.
Woo.
Pirate style. Dad style.
Pirates.
your song lyrics here are throwing me off, man, because again, this is stuff where this is happening to me recently where I'm listening to old music that I would recite the lyrics in my early 20s and I didn't hear a word of what I was singing.
No, you don't.
And here I am, I'm like, oh, wow. And where this one's, all research and successful drug policies show that treatment should be increased. And law enforcement decreased while abolishing mandatory minimum sentences. Like, we have that drug research, it exists.
And hold on, this song came out in the 90s.
Early 2000s, if not 90s, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
late 90s, I was going to assume. I don't think it was 2000, whatever.
I feel like 2002 for
Could have
some
been.
reason, 03, somewhere in that range.
I'm the hip-hop expert.
But here it is, utilizing drugs to pay for secret drugs or secret wars around the world. Yeah, that happens. Drugs are now your global policy. Now you police the globe. We sure do. We give lots of money to police the globe with drug money. Drug money is used to rig elections and train brutal corporate-sponsored dictators around the world. That's so true. Shout out Saudi Arabia, our friends. Yay! And all your dictator scumbags. Yeah, Manny, I don't know. I can't even read any more of these lyrics because they're messing me up and making me mad. So let's get out of this.
Who's it by again? Who was that song by? Let the people know.
System of a Down.
Okay, and so we've heard these words for years and years and years. Again, you pointed it out last week or the week before that about Prince and his lyrics. Like we've been told. Are we just popping the information bubbles and saying, you know what, I can't hear it no more? I don't care. Yeah, I understand that there's millions of people in the prison system. I get it. I know there's not enough money. I get it. Okay, fine. I get it. I got to close my ears. It's not me. It's not me. Anyway, Colorado, we can get out here for a little bit, take a small break. Got some Run DMC and, I don't know, maybe a break from the Mold Track. Should I throw in a break from the Mold Track? Maybe Limp Bizkit? I know he's probably hurting for some money.
Tiger, now understand.
And no, I'm not playing the Tiger King. I'm not playing the Tiger King. Once I found out that he didn't write his own music, I'm sitting back going like, yo, that's not fair.
Stop it. Dr. Dre didn't write Still Dre. He didn't make the beat. He didn't write the music. Jay-Z wrote the lyrics. Scott Storch made the track. What's Dr. Dre? What are we talking about? He's Joe Exotic.
Fine. I'm going to do it. I'm going to play it. I'm going to play, actually not I Saw a Tiger because I know that's your favorite. No. And I'm going to bug you. But I'm going to play Here Kitty Kitty.
No! All right, it's a win. And shout out to Jersey Janes. My man just went out and bought two serval cats yesterday. True story.
Are you serious? He went out and bought a couple of exotic cats.
I will DM you a picture in a little bit. Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you definitely do associate with some interesting individuals. All right, Colorado, thanks for tuning in. Wolverine, I seen you commenting. I appreciate you. Tuned in. Old school, if you out there in that cab just doing what you do, man, I appreciate you. Everyone else from the Manny and Dr. Church Show group on Facebook, appreciate your content. Dr. Church, well, you're all right. You're good people. Scuba Steve, we're going to try and get you to talk some more, and we'll figure out, I don't know, what to do next. Why?
Manny's just mad. Manny's just mad because I still urinate with my pants around my ankles on like the ultimate flex when I urinate near him. That's all. Don't listen to him, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Church, he's a good person. It's because
he... Okay, no. You painted that picture differently, as if we were sitting, standing next to urinals. You sit down. Your pants are by your ankles because you sit down.
Listen, that's how they use the urinals when you're in France. You've obviously never traveled, Manny.
Yeah, you just put your back.
The urinals are actually for the back.
Right, because they're nice concaved, and you can just lean right up in there.
So that's a European thing, Manny. You Americans don't know how to use the potty. Obviously, keeping your pants up, trying to have privacy with stall doors and stuff. Whatever.
All right. Here, kitty, kitty. Again, this is home of original hip-hop and R&B. This is the Manny and Dr. Church Show featuring the darkness, where there are no guarantees, and we are going to play, probably one of the greatest country songs that's ever been, created, produced, and distributed to small audiences. We'll be back.
felt the blood.